Hello everyone and welcome back to round 2 of season 3 of our F1 2006 Championship Edition career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Malaysian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago from Bahrain, I would highly recommend going back and checking out the season opener and obviously my first ever race on this game with a wheel as well. Yes, I had so much fun doing that one. I've basically immediately finished recording that video and am now jumping straight in with round 2. I think you guys are in for a lot more F1 Championship before F1 25 releases. But yeah, this weekend though, we are back in Sepang for the Malaysian Grand Prix. David Coulthard, of course, won this race in dramatic style last year, but it was Giancarlo Fisichella that won the race last weekend out in Bahrain. So he leads the World Championship ahead of Kimi Raikkonen and Fernando Alonso. Ferrari, a bit of a rough start to the year down in P4 and P5, but they are still second overall in the Constructors at the moment. We finished 11th, not quite points, but a pretty good way to kickstart the year. So hoping we can maintain that momentum this weekend as well. Get yourself subscribed if you're new around here. We are trying to hit 7,000 subs on the channel at the moment. But yeah, let's head then back here to Malaysia.
We're in Sepang, Malaysia for another scintillating hour of Formula One qualifying. Everything is ready, so without further ado, let's get on with session 1.
Well, the one thing I'm still not sure about with this wheel is how well we're going to struggle, or how well we're going to do in the rain on this game. Now, obviously in Bahrain I mentioned that the only real issue we have was as the tyres start to fall off, you don't really kind of get any feel as to what they're doing underneath you. And obviously that's just because I've got the force feedback disabled in this game. So I can't help but feel it would be a similar tale in the wet weather as well. But obviously, yeah, Sepang last year, we could have scored points, but annoyingly got a little bit screwed over by the AI. So maybe this time round we can get into the top 10. But again, it will just completely depend on what happens with the weather. Oh, trying to get on our first lap. What is that? Felipe Massa just completely locked up right on my nose there. Well, let us by in the end through turn 2, but so immediately we're going to see him try and get back past me. So we make our way up around turn 3. But, I mean, I'll always say it when we come back here. This circuit is so fun. So cool. I miss it from Formula 1. It would work with these modern ground effect cars as well. But anyway, hopefully we've dealt with Felipe for now. So just try and make our way through the S's. Those corners are always so awkward inside this game. But at least we've got a bit more precision. Until again, Felipe Massa just trying to have a look down the inside. Well, this first lap then, apart from Felipe Massa's antics, has felt okay as a benchmark. I want to be down into the 134s here. So we make our way through qualifying. Albers has the 37.4. We are going to run a 35.8, sorry, first run. We could definitely find a bit more. Let's see, yeah. I reckon the 34 will safely see us through. Trying to find a bit of a slipstream off of our teammate there, down in towards that final corner. Definitely not going to happen. I'm not a fan of E-Day at the moment doing all this. As Heidfeld goes fastest on the board on a 34 flat. We would have a 35.5. We improve again. But I just don't think we're going to get anywhere near that Sauber. Still feels like there's a few places where the traction trying to break free at the rear of the car. But again, luckily, much easier to try and manage now. We found a bit more time though through the first few sectors, but I think Heidfeld has just unironically set a very good lap time here. We will get into the 34s though. We go P5. That should be us safely through. Well, there we go then. UGE Day there, actually going quicker than both of the Midlands at the end of Q1. We will make it through 6 tenths clear of Christian Klein, but I don't think we've got the pace to see Q3, honestly. There's just too many cars that are a bit too fast. Nico Rosberg then currently benchmark on a 134.0 to make it through into Q3. Ultimately, I just want to make sure I set another 134. Maybe get the jump on a couple of cars here ready for the start of the race. But yeah, we are definitely not going to be able to quite set that kind of time. At the final corner, up towards the line. 34.5. I'm pretty happy. Well, there we go then. You would have actually needed to dip into the 133s by the end of Q2 there. A little bit disappointed that we ended up less than half a tenth away from Jacques Villeneuve, but quicker than Coulthard and Mark Webber in the end. Let's head into the race.
We're here live in Kuala Lumpur, and this is the Malaysian Grand Prix. Sepang, on the outskirts of the capital, was designed to be a great challenge for the drivers, with wide sweeping bends, high-speed sections and tighter corners to create overtaking opportunities. The Malaysian Grand Prix is one of the most physically demanding events on the F1 calendar. It's a clear day here at the moment, good visibility for the drivers. On pole is Felipe Massa. Next to him in second is Fernando Alonso. They're followed by Giancarlo Fisichella in third. Michael Schumacher is next. Fifth is Kimi Raikkonen. Juan Pablo Montoya takes sixth. Button is seventh. Rubens Barrichello completes row 4.
Well, getting ready then. Always happy to see the start of another Grand Prix without any rain around the circuit. But this is Malaysia. Anything could change as we go through the Grand Prix. I genuinely don't believe I have a pit select button inside this game. So yeah, gonna have to be really, really careful with that. Trying to get some temperature though into all of the tyres ready for the start of this. And let's just try and keep it clean and tidy into turn 1. No idea, I've just changed the camera angle. That's not ideal. Maybe at some point I could do a cockpit camera series now inside this title, but let's do this thing then. Malaysian Grand Prix.
Turn up the volume and enjoy. Here we go. We are racing!
No idea who's blown up before we've even started.
Start off the grid. Montoya gets a terrible start. Here come the drivers into turn 1.
Oh, there was contact. There was definitely contact there behind. Oh, no!
It's Fisichella.
I'll try and have a look then, clearly, at who had that contact down in turn 1. Was still ahead of Ide and Christian Albers, as I think it... No, it can't be Montero. No idea who's out of the race then off the start, but another annoying mistake there down at turn 1. That time round, just going for a little bit of a spin, potentially bringing ourselves out of the danger zone early on. But again, able to get really, really good starts. It is just the early lap consistency that is the problem, but that's not too much of a concern. We can settle down and try to get into our rhythm. I guess the main positive is that we are still beating Yuji Ide by the end of lap 1. Like I said, still no idea who's out of the race. But I think then Alonso is taking the lead at the front of the order there. Let's have a listen in.
Alonso leads. He's up from second. Massa is second. He was in the lead earlier. Fisichella third. Fourth, Michael Schumacher. Kimi Raikkonen fifth. Montoya sixth. Seventh is Button. And Barrichello is in eighth.
Well, again, it's just your big 4 teams in the points at the end of lap 1 there, as down the inside of Thiago Montero. That was a pretty brave dive bomb. But happy that we made it happen there. So, yeah, Renault obviously dominated last weekend with Giancarlo Fisichella. Obviously, just like he did in the first race of 2005 IRL. But, yeah, Ferrari, they look to be stronger here over 1 lap pace. But it'll be very, very interesting to see if they can work their way past those Renault cars. Christian Klein had a terrible qualifying effort yesterday, so we'll be looking, whoa, to try and find his way back up the order this afternoon. He did make it down the inside there, but a little bit of snap oversteer on the exit allowed the Red Bull to potentially get a run. A little bit of wheel banging on the exit. Down in towards that final corner. Will he try and have a look for a move? I'm going to absolutely send myself way too deep in. But back up to the P17 then. We're still not far from your top 8. But yeah, already they look just to be pulling away from everybody else. Well, I think it must have been Scott Speed then whose engine blew up before this race even got going. Because the Antonio Luizzi, just a couple of cars up the road. But I believe, yeah, is the only remaining Toro Rosso in this race there, is trying not to allow the back end of the car to break free. Like he did last time around. They're on another move made up then against Mark Webber. If we can start just consistently getting, towards the top 10, then, even if we don't score any points, surely another team will want to take a punt. But we're actually kind of looking around the mini-map fairly competitively paced here early on in the race. I know there's some battles going on between other cars up the road, and it's still going to be difficult, obviously, to try and find a way through. As Luizzi not able to get the throttle down off of the exit of turn 4 there, so almost an opportunity. Yeah, the only other problem I've got here is I opted to try and put a bit of extra fuel in the car ready for the race, just in case we saw some changeable conditions later on in the event. But yeah, that doesn't seem to be happening early. And obviously, like I said, I cannot... I've got no way of kind of selecting a different pit stop in this race. It's this final sector, though, where we really are pretty quick against the AI. As Liuzzi there still just slowing me down. Around the outside we'll go. I guess that works. We've got someone gone. We've got someone gone. I think that might be a BMW. Might be a Toyota, actually, down at turn 1. Luckily, I think we've avoided the oil. No, I think that's a McLaren. Who is that out of the Grand Prix? It's Montoya. Well, that works wonders then, because it gives everybody else a potential chance to score a point today. I think that's Nick Heifeld then, that's up into 8th. That's what we're aiming for. Oh, racing one of the Ferraris then. Oh, as they make their way out the pit lane. Luckily, they just nick one wheel on the grass, but we'll get away with that as Felipe Massa will come out just in front of us. So critical for him and his strategy, obviously, at the front of the order, that he maintains that pace. Yeah, I think, again, unless something chaotic happens, points aren't going to be doable here. And luckily as well, I have found the button that will allow us to request a pit stop early if we need to. Still reckons it's got 7 laps worth of fuel, but yeah, the tyres are getting tuned up here. I want to wait a little bit longer just in case there is rain, but yeah, we're not in a bad spot. There you go, that is wonderful news for us, pretty much as soon as I wanted to know. Martin Brundle confirming. I don't think we'll dive in this lap, I think we'll come in next time by... No. Oh, I thought we'd done so well to avoid that so far in this race. Just that little bit of traction can be so difficult to find through the hairpin there. But we're going to lose the 1 place to Michael Schumacher, and I think he would have probably aggressively dive-bombed me at some point in the not-too-distant future anyway. Into the pit lane, though, at the end of this lap. Yeah, luckily, like I said, just found it was basically the last button I tried on this game, but Fisichella going really deep into the afternoon. Let's just try and pit safely. Oh, no. I saw a bollard, but I aimed for the wrong one, which was not ideal there. Let's see then what we can do into the pit lane then. Obviously, I've got to try and find all the right buttons. I've got to remember that L1... I believe is actually L3 on this wheel. It's very, very odd to try and adapt to that. But it does hopefully mean less button pressing overall. Let's just wait and see. Like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. Oh, I don't know what I'm pressing. Just trying to mash buttons, I think. Oh, I've messed that up royally. There we go. 11.9. It's not the worst pit stop in the world, but I've probably been undercut again. As Liuzzi, I think, will get out ahead of me. So, yeah, we're just losing a few seconds because of that. Oh, I mean, yeah, I don't know how we're getting so badly undercut in this Grand Prix, but Mark Webber there's actually worked an overcut on me. Didn't even know how many seconds behind he was before he pit. But that is something we are definitely going to have to fix still if we want to be competitive throughout this season, is just sorting out those pit stops so we're a little bit more on the money. Even if I'm just losing a couple of seconds, it's better than kind of the 4 or 5 that I seem to be losing at the moment. Looking up and down the field, though, I reckon we can definitely get Webber and Liuzzi. Can we try and get to that next gaggle of cars? Oh, this is where the AI really slow and we're awkwardly positioned behind Mark Webber. Try and have a look to the inside, but again, it's just about trying to slow the car down without the rear braking free. There we go, back up into P15 then. Like I said, 14th is definitely doable. I'm kind of looking at that gaggle of cars, wondering if we could challenge for a top 10. Oh, no. Oh, that's so annoying. We were taking good time out of Liuzzi over these last few laps there. We might still be able to get him by the end of the race. Really had felt like it was a bit too little too late, but yeah, felt like we got into a good routine and rhythm right towards the end. 2 seconds lost there. Can we get back to the Italian on the last lap?
Race leader Alonso has started his final lap.
Fernando Alonso is on his final lap. Looks like he can take the win.
Well, Renault again then looks to be in
His teammate is running
control
in
here.
second, so if it stays like this, it'll be a Renault 1-2.
Yeah, Renault, they're having a pretty good day at the races once again, and we'll look to extend that gap over Ferrari The Maranello squad have been their closest rivals this weekend, but still, looks like Renault just able to keep them at arm's width, and maybe this year will be the year that Fernando Alonso finally wins a World Championship inside this series. Schumacher has just picked him in the last 2 World seasons. But one more lap to go then after this one. We are still trying to close back in on Antonio Liuzzi. I felt like, yeah, had we nailed it a little bit more, we could have definitely been up with Rosberg and a few other drivers that are just a little bit in front. But again, considering this is normally a track the AI are pretty good at, I don't think we can complain with the race we've driven today. 2 seconds still to try and close back up. Had we not made that error, we would have been right on the Toro Rosso starting this last lap. But we'll continue pushing on as Fernando Alonso then, he watched his teammate dominate last weekend out in Bahrain. Really had no answer for him. He seems to have figured out something with that car though here, and he will return, as you would expect, as Renault's #1 driver back to the front of the order. Out of the final corner, Alonso will win the Malaysian Grand Prix.
Alonso crosses the line in first place and earns a well-deserved 10 points. Fisichella will finish the race in second.
There you go. Renault 1-2, Ferrari 3-4 then, and well again, apart from Heidfeld, you know, the big teams you would expect to be scoring the big points have made the difference this afternoon, but I just don't think we're going to have enough against Liuzzi towards the end of this one. It has been in the corner of my mind that we just need to make sure we get the car home, but disappointing down in P15 there. Definitely felt like we could have had more from this afternoon's running, as yeah, it is just a confidence thing and just getting more and more belief kind of in what this car can do. But, you know, positives, we are hopefully going to finish our 2nd race in a row, and that doesn't happen all too often, alarmingly, on this game prior to now. 1 more corner to go then. Not enough to get to Liuzzi by the end there. A little bit of a mistake. At the final turn though, P15, honestly, again, I think we can be pretty happy. It's a good level to be working at.
The Sepang International Circuit has again been a wonderful venue for Formula One racing. It's typical of the Hermann Tilke circuits of the modern era. It's been on the Formula One calendar since 1999, and it's maturing very nicely as the drivers and teams get used to that sharp turn 1 and the extended long straights. Very technical in sections with sweeping left and right bends that have the weight shifting around the car. It's always exciting to watch an F1 car driven in anger around here. We've enjoyed it. We hope you have too. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time in Australia at Albert Park for round 3. Until then, take care.
Well, there we go. Christian Albers, Juan Pablo Montoya, Christian Klein, and Scott Speed, your drivers that failed to see a checkered flag this weekend. But P15 for us, still ahead of Mark Webber, and of course UJ Ide as well. Those are the important ones. But yeah, having a look at our World Championship, Fisichella still leads ahead of Alonso and Raikkonen there. Michael Schumacher still down only in P5 as well, as I think we've only had 9 drivers score points from the opening few Grand Prix. Sadly, we do get relegated down to 12th on countback as well, just behind Jarno Trulli there, but still just ahead of Jacques Villeneuve. Constructors-wise, Super Aguri was still P7 though, so we can be happy with that. Renault already with a 14-point lead over Ferrari. Thank you all so much for watching though. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back for our first real test of the year for the Australian Grand Prix.